Welcome to the Prescott Lab Podcast, not just theory, practical science for everyone. I'm Dr. Jonathan Prescott, a physician and integrative medicine researcher at the Ravenshade Institute for Human Health. Now, let me ask you something personal. Have you ever opened your fridge and looked right past that little orange box, the one you bought to keep things fresh and never thought twice about it? What if I told you that same humble box might just be one of the most powerful health tools you've never used? Not a pill. Not a powder sold on TV at 2 a.m., but baking soda. You see, after 30 years of treating men over 60, good men, smart men, I've learned something surprising. It's not always the new treatments that change lives. Sometimes it's the simple things, the things we already have, that quietly carry the most potential. In today's episode, I'm going to walk you through 7 science-backed ways baking soda can improve your health, especially if you're a man navigating life after 60. We'll talk energy, digestion, joints, kidneys, and yes, even confidence. But before we begin, let me ask a favor. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. And if this topic resonates with you even a little, go ahead and tap that like button, not for me, but because every like tells us we're on the right track. It's the fuel that helps us keep making these videos made for men like you who want real answers, not hype. So if you've ever felt like you're doing everything right and still waking up stiff, tired, or just not quite yourself, this episode is for you. Let's talk about the white powder sitting in your kitchen drawer and how it might just help you age with more strength, clarity, and control. Benefit 1: a natural deodorant for daily confidence. There are some things we just don't talk about as we get older, even though we all deal with them. Like this one, body odor, not the kind from skipping a shower. I'm talking about that subtle shift, the one that happens even when you're clean, even when you've done everything right. You're not imagining it. Aging skin, hormone changes, medications, they all alter the way your body smells. And sometimes, even the strongest deodorants don't quite feel right anymore. Too harsh, too many chemicals, too many rashes. I remember a man named Robert, 66 years old, former truck mechanic, quiet, proud, didn't complain about much. But one day after a checkup, he lingered at the door and finally said, "Doc, I know this might sound weird, but is there a natural way to deal with body odor? The stuff I use makes my skin burn." Now, that question may seem small, but for Robert, it wasn't. It was about comfort, dignity, feeling clean without feeling irritated. So I told him about something that surprised him and might surprise you too: baking soda. Yes, the same white powder that's sitting in your kitchen cabinet right now. Here's why it works. Body odor isn't from sweat, it's from the bacteria that break down sweat. And when that happens, your skin becomes more acidic. Baking soda is alkaline. It balances out that acidity and neutralizes odor-causing bacteria. No perfume, no sting, just a quiet chemical-free fix. I told Robert to try a simple mix. 1 pinch of baking soda, a few drops of water or coconut oil, gently dab it under the arms, not to coat, just enough to cover. A few days later, he emailed me and said, "Doc, I feel like myself again. I'm not worrying about it anymore. My skin's not burning, and I don't smell like a department store." Now, of course, this isn't for everyone. Some men with very sensitive skin may find baking soda a bit too alkaline. In that case, you can dilute it more, use it less often, or blend it with a gentle oil like coconut or olive. But for most, it's a game changer. No aluminum, no artificial fragrance. Just clean, quiet confidence. And confidence, that's the real win here. Isn't it? When you feel clean, you show up differently, you stand taller, hug your grandkids tighter, walk into a room without second-guessing yourself. That's what Robert told me. He didn't need cologne. He needed relief without the rash. And he found it in something that cost less than a cup of coffee. So next time you reach for your deodorant, ask yourself, what am I really putting under my arms? And is there a gentler option your body might thank you for? Sometimes the best solutions aren't flashy, they're just smart and already sitting quietly on your shelf. Now, while we're talking about things that make us feel clean and fresh, what about your breath? Because if you've ever hesitated to speak up, lean in or smile wide. You're not alone. And the next benefit might just help you reclaim that quiet confidence too. Benefit 2: oral health and bad breath relief. Let me tell you a story about a man named Bill, 68 years old, retired auto shop owner, proud grandfather, a man who'd rather fix a carburetor than talk about feelings. But during one appointment, he looked at me and said quietly, "Doc, I don't smile like I used to. I'm embarrassed. My breath's not what it was, and these sores keep coming back." Now, I've heard a lot of things in my years. But when a man tells you he's lost his smile, that's not a small thing. That's his confidence, his presence, His connection with people he loves. Bill had tried everything. Minty mouthwashes, strong rinses, some expensive spray he saw online. Nothing worked for more than a day and some made it worse. His dentist ruled out infection, no gum disease, no major issues, but the problem kept coming back. Small, painful canker sores. Bad breath that lingered no matter how often he brushed. And that awful taste in the morning. So I asked him, Bill, you got baking soda at home? He blinked. You mean for the fridge? I smiled. No, for your mouth. You see, as we age, our saliva becomes more acidic, especially if we're on medications, eating certain foods, or dealing with chronic dryness. That acidic shift creates the perfect storm: more bad bacteria, more irritation, more odor. Baking soda, or sodium bicarbonate, is naturally alkaline. When you rinse with it, it helps neutralize the acidity, creating an environment where bad bacteria struggle and healing can begin. Here's the simple method I gave Bill. A half teaspoon of baking soda mixed into half a glass of warm water. Swish gently for 30 seconds, then spit it out. Do it 2-3 times a week, not every day. No harsh chemicals. No alcohol, just a gentle, soothing rinse that restores balance. A week later, Bill came back with a grin. Doc, I actually smiled in front of my grandkids yesterday, first time in months. That, my friend, is not just oral hygiene, that's freedom, that's dignity. It's also a reminder that not every solution has to come in a shiny bottle. Sometimes your body just needs a reset and something simple to support it. Now, important note, if you have chronic bad breath, frequent sores, or bleeding gums, don't ignore it. That could signal deeper issues. Digestive imbalance, gum disease, dry mouth from medications. Baking soda is not a cure, it's a support, but a powerful one when used wisely. And let's not forget, your mouth is the gateway to everything else. Inflammation there can ripple outward to your heart, your brain, your gut. So taking care of it isn't just about breath, it's about protecting your entire system. Bill didn't just get fresher breath, he got his voice back, his smile, his sense that he could speak without hesitation. And sometimes that's the biggest health win of all. Now, while we're on the subject of comfort and confidence, there's another issue that creeps up with age, often after a hearty meal. That burning, fiery sensation in the chest. If you've ever felt like dinner is trying to climb back up your throat, you'll want to hear what baking soda can do next. Benefit 3: relief from heartburn and acid reflux. There's a certain kind of discomfort that only men past 60 truly understand. It doesn't roar, it creeps, starts as a low burn right behind the chest, rises slowly, then suddenly it's like someone lit a fire in your throat. That's heartburn, and if you've felt it, you know how miserable it can be. Let me tell you about George, a 74-year-old retired postmaster. Tall guy, great stories. But lately, his favorite meals were turning into misery. He called it the fire that ruins dinner. He tried everything: chewables, over-the-counter antacids, even sleeping upright in his recliner. Still, it came back, after pasta, after chili, even after a glass of orange juice. That's when I sat him down and said, George, what you're dealing with isn't just a fluke, it's likely acid reflux, and there's a reason it gets worse with age. See, as we get older, the muscles at the base of our esophagus weaken. That valve that's supposed to keep stomach acid down, it relaxes too much. So acid sneaks up, especially after big meals, heavy sauces, or late-night snacks. And while antacids can work short-term, they don't fix the root issue, and they often come with side effects. Constipation, dry mouth, nutrient absorption problems. Here's where baking soda becomes surprisingly helpful. Sodium bicarbonate is a natural antacid. It doesn't block acid like a drug. It neutralizes the acid already there, quickly, gently, and without overcorrecting. Here's the method I gave George. Mix a half teaspoon of baking soda into a full glass of water. Sip slowly after meals that cause symptoms. Use no more than 2-3 times per week. That's it. No prescriptions, no side effects. A few days later, George left a voicemail I still remember. Doc, I had chili last night and slept like a baby. That baking soda trick, it works. You just saved Sunday night football. But here's the thing, this isn't a daily fix. Baking soda contains sodium, and for men with high blood pressure, heart concerns, or kidney issues, too much can be risky. That's why I always say, use it like a fire extinguisher, not a fire routine. If you're dealing with heartburn every night, that's a sign your body's asking for help. And the solution may not be in your spice cabinet, it may be in your habits. George eventually made some smart changes. Smaller meals, no eating 2-3 hours before bed, less coffee, less alcohol. And yes, that trusty jar of baking soda, just in case it's a good reminder. Relief doesn't always mean reaching for another pill. Sometimes it means understanding your body, listening closely, and supporting it naturally. So if you've been battling that slow burn after dinner and wondering if it's just your new normal, let me be the one to tell you it's not. And as we move forward, I want you to think about this. If baking soda can calm down the acid in your stomach, what else might it do for your energy, your muscles, your drive? Because the next benefit isn't about symptoms, it's about performance. And if your legs are tiring faster than they used to, you'll want to hear what comes next. Benefit 4, boosting energy and muscle endurance. Doc, I don't know what's going on. I start the day strong and by lunchtime, it's like someone pulled the plug. That's what Henry, 70 years old, told me one spring morning, a proud grandfather, former construction worker, and lifelong gardener. He wasn't trying to run marathons, he just wanted to finish weeding the back fence without feeling like his legs were made of cement. He had no major health issues. No diabetes, no heart disease. Just a slow, creeping fatigue, especially in his muscles. That's when I introduced him to a word he hadn't heard since high school gym class, lactic acid. You see, when we move, even just walking or gardening, our muscles produce lactic acid as a byproduct. Normally, it clears out quickly, but as we age, the balance shifts. Our muscles generate more acid, and our bodies become less efficient at removing it. The result. That burning, heavy leg feeling that shuts you down before you're ready. And here's where it gets interesting. Baking soda acts as a buffer. It neutralizes lactic acid, letting your muscles push just a little farther before fatigue takes over. I told Henry to try this. A quarter teaspoon of baking soda in a tall glass of water, drink it 30-60 minutes before planned activity like gardening, walking, fishing. He was skeptical. Doc, a baking soda, like the fridge kind? I nodded. Exactly, same one, not for miracles, just for a little edge, a little help. Let's see how your body responds. 2 weeks later, Henry came back into my office with dirt under his fingernails and a grin on his face. Doc, I finished the back fence, and I didn't feel like collapsing after. I even helped my grandson fix the shed. I don't know what kind of witchcraft that powder is, but I'm keeping it. Now let's be clear, this isn't a sports drink. It's not a substitute for exercise, good sleep, or proper nutrition. But for older adults, baking soda can gently extend your stamina, help you move longer, feel less drained, and recover faster. Of course, I always caution, start small, hydrate well, and avoid if you have blood pressure or kidney concerns. It's not about pushing your body to extremes. It's about reclaiming your momentum. There's something powerful about knowing you can finish what you start. That your body, even with a few extra miles on it, still has strength in the tank. And as I always tell my patients, you don't need to be 30 again. You just need to feel strong enough to live the life you want. So if you've been cutting walks short, leaving chores half done, or simply wishing you could do just a little more, that quiet white powder in your pantry might be more than you thought. Now, what if I told you that same powder could do something even more impressive? Not just give you more energy, but ease the deep, stiff pain in your joints too. Because if your mornings start with groans, and your knees complain every time you stand, the next benefit is one you need to hear. Benefit 5, reducing joint inflammation and pain. You know what gets to a man after 60? It's not the gray hair, not the wrinkles. It's waking up stiff, standing up slow, and pretending it doesn't hurt. That's what Walter, 67, told me on a rainy Tuesday morning. A lifelong carpenter, hands like oak, but now swollen, tender. The grip that once held hammers and chisels now struggled with buttons and coffee mugs. Doc, he said, I didn't mind the noise in my joints, but this swelling, this burn, it's taken away my workbench. Walter had tried it all, ibuprofen, glucosamine, fancy creams from late-night TV, but nothing made a real difference, or if it did, his stomach paid the price. That's when I shared something with him that most people, including many doctors, don't talk enough about. Chronic inflammation isn't just about pain, it's about miscommunication. Your immune system thinks there's a battle, but there isn't. And so it keeps attacking, sending white blood cells, chemicals, fluid right into your joints. That's what causes stiffness, swelling, and that deep ache that shows up in your knees, your hands, your back. Now here's where baking soda comes in, not as a painkiller, but as a calming agent for your immune system. There's emerging research, yes, real science showing that drinking a small amount of baking soda may help shift your immune system from fight mode to repair mode. It sends a message to certain immune cells, macrophages, to stand down. I told Walter to try this. A half teaspoon of baking soda stirred into a full glass of water, drink once a day on an empty stomach. No more than 3-4 days per week. Monitor symptoms. and blood pressure closely. He was skeptical. "Doc, soda water's gonna fix my joints," I smiled. "Maybe not fix, but maybe ease, let's just see." 2 weeks later, Walter walked into my office with his hands tucked in his pockets, not clenched, not swollen, not wrapped in bandages. "It's not gone," he said, "but it's better. I carved a picture frame last Sunday, first one in months." I could see it in his eyes, not just relief but return to craft, to purpose. To the part of himself pain had pushed away. That's what this is really about, not silencing pain but reclaiming life. And if something as humble as baking soda can nudge your immune system toward healing, that's worth knowing. Of course, I always tell my patients, baking soda is not a cure. If you have high blood pressure, kidney disease, or heart concerns, talk to your doctor first. Use it short-term, not daily for months. Think of it as a reset, not a routine, but if your joints have been screaming in whispers. If you're waking up stiff, moving slow, and feeling like you've lost your rhythm, this simple white powder might help you start moving with less resistance. And when movement returns, so does freedom. Now, if you think easing inflammation is impressive, what about protecting something that almost never complains? Until the damage is already done, because up next, we're heading deep inside the body, to a pair of organs that filter your blood, regulate your pH, and quietly determine how you feel every single day. Yes, we're talking about your kidneys. Benefit 6: supporting kidney function. The kidneys are like the janitors of your body, quiet, consistent, never asking for attention until they are in trouble. Most men don't think about their kidneys until a blood test says your numbers are off. And by then, the damage may already be unfolding. I had a patient, Evelyn, 73, sharp, independent, full of fire. She came in for a routine checkup. No complaints, no red flags. But her blood work told a different story. Her kidney function was declining. Slowly, quietly, she felt fine, but the lab didn't lie. Now here's something most people don't realize. As we age, especially with high blood pressure or type 2 diabetes, our kidneys lose their edge. They struggle to filter waste. They let acid build up. And that creates something called metabolic acidosis, a slow internal shift where your body becomes too acidic. That acid, it damages the kidneys even further, creating a vicious cycle. And that's where baking soda steps in, not as a miracle, but as a strategic ally. Studies have shown that sodium bicarbonate, when used carefully, can help neutralize excess acid in the bloodstream. By bringing the pH back toward normal, it gives the kidneys a break, a pause, a chance to stabilize. When I told Evelyn this, she leaned in. "Wait, something from my kitchen can help my kidneys." I nodded, under supervision and with caution, yes. So we built a plan: a quarter to a half teaspoon of baking soda in a full glass of water taken once a day, a few days per week with regular monitoring of blood pressure and kidney function, and we looped in her nephrologist to be safe. Over the next 6 months, something beautiful happened. Her numbers didn't crash. They held steady. Her energy improved. And for the first time in years, she felt like she was part of the healing, not just a bystander to it. That's what this benefit is really about. Not treating disease, but supporting the body's balance. Not replacing medical care, but working alongside it gently. Now let me be absolutely clear: if you have kidney disease, do not start baking soda therapy on your own. Sodium can be dangerous in the wrong context. This approach requires medical guidance, and it's not meant to replace medication or dialysis, but as a supportive strategy for the right person at the right time. It's a tool worth knowing about. Your kidneys work 24/7. They don't take breaks. So when something as simple as baking soda can lighten their load, even a little, that's not folk wisdom. That's smart science. And if it helps you stay out of the danger zone, if it gives you time, options, and a sense of control, that matters. Because you can't feel your kidneys working, but when they stop, you'll feel everything. Now, while we've just looked deep inside the body, let's come back to the surface for a moment. Because there's another kind of irritation that becomes more stubborn with age. And it's not internal, it's right there on your skin. If bug bites, rashes, or random itches have been driving you mad lately, you'll want to hear about the next surprising benefit of this humble white powder. Benefit 7: soothing skin irritations, itch, bites, rashes. You ever notice how the smallest things seem to hit harder the older we get? A mosquito bite that used to be a minor annoyance now lingers for days, red, swollen, itchy like crazy. Or that mystery rash on your arm, not serious, just stubborn, won't go away, keeps you up at night. That's exactly what Joanne, 72, told me one summer afternoon. She walked into my office, slapped her forearm down on the table, and said, Doc, this bug bite is driving me absolutely nuts. I've tried every cream in the drugstore, nothing works, and now I've spent $50 scratching my skin off. I looked at her arm, angry red patch, inflamed, raised, not infected, but clearly irritated, so I asked her the same question I ask a lot of patients. Joanne, you got any baking soda at home? She blinked. You mean the stuff in the yellow box? I nodded. Yep, that's the one. Let's make your new favorite itch cream. Here's the science. Most bug bites, minor stings, or mild rashes happen when acidic substances from insects or allergens hit your skin. Your body reacts with inflammation, redness, swelling, that maddening itch. But baking soda is alkaline. It helps neutralize that acidity, calms the immune response, and brings fast relief. I told Joanne to try this at home. 3 parts baking soda plus 1 part water, mix into a smooth paste, dab gently onto the irritated skin, let it sit for 15-20 minutes, then rinse off with cool water. Repeat 1-2 times per day as needed. No steroids, no chemicals, just a quiet fix from the pantry. 2 days later, she called my office. Doc, it's the first night I slept without scratching. Why didn't anyone tell me this sooner? That's what stuck with me, because it wasn't about the bug bite. It was about getting her peace of mind back. See, when you're younger, these little things don't faze you. But after 60, sleep becomes precious. Comfort becomes sacred, and anything that disrupts it, even something as silly as a mosquito bite, takes a toll. Of course, let me be clear, if a rash spreads, gets infected, or doesn't improve in a few days, see a doctor. If you have broken skin or sensitive areas, test on a small patch first. Don't use baking soda on open wounds or serious burns, but for everyday annoyances. Itchy bug bites, mild heat rashes, dry spots that just won't calm down. This is one of the gentlest, most overlooked remedies I've ever recommended. And I've had plenty of patients, especially those who love the outdoors. Keep a small tub of the paste in the fridge ready to go all summer long. They take it camping, they bring it to the lake. One man told me he even used it after shaving, said it saved his neck, literally. Sometimes health isn't about grand interventions. It's about small, smart habits that let us enjoy life again. So if you've been scratching more than sleeping lately, and drugstore creams aren't cutting it, you might already have what you need sitting quietly in the back of your pantry. Now, before we wrap up, let's talk about something important: how to use baking soda safely and when to be careful. Because even the simplest tools need to be used with wisdom. How to use it safely and when not to. By now you might be thinking, Doc, this stuff sounds too good to be true. If baking soda does all that, why doesn't everyone use it? You're not alone. I've had dozens of patients ask the same thing. But here's what I tell them, and what I need you to hear clearly: just because something is natural doesn't mean it's harmless. Even the best tools can backfire if we use them too often, too long, or in the wrong way. Baking soda shifts pH, whether it's in your mouth, your stomach, your skin, or your bloodstream. And while that's what makes it helpful, too much shifting can tip things in the wrong direction. So here are the same ground rules I give my own patients. 1. Start small. Begin with the lowest dose, 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon in a full glass of water. Never dry scoop it, and don't double up thinking more is better. It's not. 2. Don't use it every day unless your doctor says so. For most men, 2-3 times a week is enough, whether it's for heartburn, joint pain, or energy. Using it daily for weeks can raise your sodium levels, put pressure on your kidneys, elevate blood pressure. Without warning, remember, sodium bicarbonate is still sodium. After 60, that matters more than ever. 3. Monitor other conditions if you have high blood pressure, kidney disease, heart failure. Talk to your doctor first. This isn't a scare tactic, it's simple physiology. Too much bicarbonate in the wrong body can do real harm. 4. Watch for side effects. Stop and call your doctor if you notice swollen ankles, shortness of breath, headaches, nausea, sudden spikes in blood pressure. These are rare, but they happen, especially when people get overconfident. 5. Topical use. Test first before putting it on larger areas of your skin. Apply a small amount behind your ear or on your inner arm. Wait 12-24 hours. If there's no redness or burning, you're good to go. 6. This is not a replacement for medical care, let me be clear. Baking soda is not a cure. It will not fix arthritis, replace kidney medication, eliminate chronic reflux, but it can support your system gently, affordably, and with purpose. I tell my patients, you wouldn't use a wrench to fix every problem in your house, but when you need it, nothing else works quite like it. Baking soda's the same: simple, reliable, powerful, but only in the right hands. So if you're thinking, maybe I'll try it tonight, start slow, stay smart, and most of all, listen to your body. Now, before we wrap up, I want to take a moment to leave you with something deeper. Because behind every video we make, every answer we give, there's one belief that you still matter. And the small choices you make, even something as humble as a spoonful of powder, can help you live with more strength, clarity, and peace. Conclusion: aging with wisdom, not fear. Isn't it something that a small orange box in your pantry, the one we usually ignore, the one meant for baking cookies or freshening the fridge, could turn out to be a quiet, loyal ally in your journey to better health? We've talked about 7 powerful ways baking soda can support you after 60. From your mouth to your joints, your gut, your kidneys, even your confidence. This humble white powder offers more than just cleanliness. It offers control. It offers dignity. It offers a way to step forward, not backward, with each passing year. Let's recap quickly and remind ourselves what's truly possible. You can freshen your breath and heal mouth sores without burning rinses. You can ease the itch of summer bites with a kitchen remedy older than your granddad's toolbox. You can calm heartburn, support your muscles, and even dial down inflammation, not with prescriptions but with understanding. And through it all, you're not just managing symptoms. You're choosing to live with more comfort, more clarity, and more agency. But I want to leave you with this: it's not really about baking soda, it's about what it stands for. It stands for simplicity in a world of noise. It stands for self-respect in a culture that often ignores men past a certain age. And it stands for the truth that your health doesn't belong to the pharmacy or the hospital or even to me. It belongs to you. The little choices matter. The habits you build, the tools you reach for, the belief that you're not done yet, because you're not. If this episode helped you even just a little, share it with another man in your life, your brother, your neighbor, your friend who's been quietly hurting but too proud to ask. And if you haven't already, tap that like button. It's a small gesture, but it fuels us to keep making these videos, not for clicks, but for men like you who still care, still fight, and still believe in living well. Drop a comment if you've tried baking soda or if one of these tips spoke to you. We read everyone, and you never know, your story might be the reason another man takes his next step toward healing. So until next time, take care of yourself, stay strong, and never forget you still matter, more than you know.